My honor has been stained. Until it's wiped clean, I want nothing else.
Hello, Achievement Hunters. Achievement Hunting 101. Welcome to level 332. This is Wild West 08. I guess this is the first recording for me for the new year, so I'd like to be the first one to welcome or say a Happy New Year to everyone. I hope you had a good day and enjoyed football or however else you celebrated. Had a good day. With me this week, we have a special guest, KooshMoose. Welcome to the show.
You do. Thanks for having me.
Did you have a good New Year's?
Yeah, I didn't work, so that was nice. I like having a day off. Sort of seems like I don't know. I don't know if it's U.S. holidays or what, or just my job, but like seems like we're really kind of like end loaded with the holidays. Like there's just not a whole lot of time off at the beginning of the year, but at the end of the year, it's just like just comes crashing like crazy. So I really enjoyed the end of the year, and having time off was great.
That's as you said that, it made me think that I guess New Year's is kind of like a bookend to the holidays. Is that how you'd see it?
Yeah, unfortunately. And that's kind of what I do. The first day I go back to work after New Year's is look at the document from HR, and I fill out my work calendar and I fill out my personal calendar with like my days off, and I just go, geez, that's not a lot.
I was going to say, if you're talking about HR, are you talking about how many infractions you had in the year and how you can do better?
They have not called me on any of that, so it's great.
That's good. Do you and your family celebrate anything with New Year's, or is it just try to stay up till midnight and Happy New Year and go to bed?
Yeah, pretty much. We don't do any celebrating. Don't really go out much. So this was, what did we do? I can't remember what we got to eat. I think let's just say we had meatball subs. I don't know what it was. Let's just call it meatball subs, but we don't have a tradition or anything. But maybe next year we'll do meatball subs as a tradition. I don't know.
Yeah, that's my, we did that a few weeks ago, and my oldest is obsessed with them now. She asks for them all the time.
Really?
Can we have meatball subs? I'm like, no, we just had them.
But, where do you get them from? Or do you make them?
We make them.
You make them? I was just about to say nobody makes meatball subs.
My wife makes the meatballs. She'll just make the homemade meatballs, and then we'll just get some tomato sauce and get some bread from the store and everything. And
wow.
So,
okay.
Sometimes we'll do it the cheap way and just get like the frozen meatballs and put them on a sandwich. But this time we did make them the meatballs homemade, and they turned out really good. So
you're like the only person I know that does that. Like we'll just go. I'll be like, oh, let's go to. My wife likes them from Subway. Or not. Yeah. Subway is like the bare minimum that she'll take for a meatball sub. But then the next step up is like the local mom and pop. Pizza place that has a meatball sub, and that's really the best place to go. And that's the kind that I like. I don't really like the Subway one, but if we're doing quick and fast, we might do a Subway. Not tell anyone about it.
Yeah, I will say when I was doing my grad school in Philadelphia, I miss all those places that, you would just go down the street and there would be like 10 stores that made like 100 different things. You'd go look at their menu and you're like, oh, wow, we could get a meatball sub here. We could get fried chicken here. We can get a pizza here.
Like, we get shrimp too.
You can get shrimp. Yep. Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for us, we have a tradition of doing like the sparkling cider, the Martinellis. We usually have some Smokies and some shrimp. And then since my girls got a little bit older, like when my oldest was like 4, 5, 6, I take them to the store sometime before New Year's Eve and let them choose a snack that they want. So they can pick a treat or a soda or something. And then that way they can have something that they picked out for themselves, or if they want to share it with everyone, if they get a bag of Oreos or something. And then that way we just kind of snack, and we'll have a light dinner and then just kind of snack and stay up till midnight.
It's too late because I already have this mental image of you allowing your children to smoke. But what is a Smokies? Is that like a brat?
So Smoky, they're like little hot dogs.
Okay.
Have you seen those in the store at all? Or
I guess I have. Yeah, I just don't. Actually, that's the name brand, like Little Smokies.
Yeah, Little Smokies.
LIL. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, yes, I have seen those, but for a little time I was like just imagining you like giving like backwoods stogies to the kids.
Here, kids, don't tell mom. No, so I got the hot tub heated up as well. So we just we had a lot of people in our neighborhood shooting fireworks off. So we just were kind of in there listening to some music and watching the fireworks go off and everything. And it was a fun night.
You're the exact opposite of the spectrum as me then for the first. So that's great.
Well, I'm glad you had a good night, and hopefully you had a good day the next day. And I hope everyone else had a good New Year, and whatever your gaming or personal goals are for the year, that you are able to achieve them. And I looked forward to hearing a lot of the people from in the discussion throughout the last week talk about their goals and everything. I always enjoy hearing that, and I wish you all the best of luck. We put out a patron question this week that Elle and I collaborated on, and we look forward to getting that here in the near future. So be looking for that. But I loved reading all the responses, so thank you very much for everyone that wrote in. I was telling Koosh in the pre-show that I really like hearing the games that people mention, because then it makes me go research them and see if that's something that's interesting to me or makes me remember a game that maybe I forgot. So I appreciate all the responses, and Elle and I look forward to reading those here soon. We are going to move to a few news items that we have that have come out recently. Koosh reminded me that there was a big change to the Game Pass quest, so he is going to take over and tell you all about it.
Yeah. Now, I'm not an expert on the quest. I'm not one of the guys that goes out and does everything, but I'm also not the other side of that doesn't do anything. What I do is I log into the app on my phone, and I will try that stupid tiles game, or that stupid Connect 3 game. Yeah, that works 2 out of 3 times. Like, I'll go up a level. It's only 5 points. It's only 5 points, but I do it every time. I go up a level. I then make one move after that level, and then I exit out. And if it gives me credit for it, I'm like, I win at life, and then I move on. But then sometimes it won't give me credit, and I have to do it like 2 or 3 times. And by the time I try my 3rd time, I'm like, you know what? This is stupid. I should never do this again. And I keep telling myself that every time, and I never change. So this last time, I actually quit after 3 tries to get it to do its thing. I wouldn't do it. And then the very next day, it worked the first try. So aside from that, there are challenges or rewards for just using the Xbox app. So I already got that by opening it on my phone. Playing a PC game. So for playing a PC game, I will just fire up like a solitaire or a mahjong or something else. One of those Microsoft relaxing games. I can't remember what they're called, but play one of those.
Casual.
The casual. Thank you. They're casual series of games. I'll do that. I'll put 15 minutes, and I think that is the key. Is it has to be 15 minutes. So make sure you're playing something for 15 minutes. Now you can double up some of these things. So if there's something in Game Pass that you have on your PC, you can get double for that. You play your PC game. You also get your Game Pass. And don't do that on the cloud, because I believe the cloud license is tied to Xbox. So that will only meet an Xbox criteria. Then they have a weekly PC bonus. This is for the PC Super Ultimate Game Pass tier, which is what I do. So if you have a lower tier, I don't think you have access to these. But there's a weekly PC bonus for playing those games, and it ticks up as you go throughout the week. There's playing a game on a console. Hopefully you guys are doing that because you're listening to an Xbox podcast. So hopefully you're actually playing games. Then there's a weekly console bonus, which, if you're addicted like just about everybody else, you'll get that by naturally just by playing. Then they added these quests back. Now, if you'll remember, they had these before, but they have weekly streaks. So streaks are back. And this is the first week. So it just started this week. I think it was Tuesday, I think is when they came back. So I don't really know how it's going to work from week to week, but currently day 5 is when you start getting bonuses, or maybe it's day 4 and the bonuses just go away. But you get little bonuses as you go. So day 5, I show plus 40, day 6 will be plus 20, day 7 will be plus 40. And then on claiming on Sunday, I can get another 40 points. So I don't know. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to go as time goes on. Then they also have a Game Pass monthly 4-pack. So that's playing any 4 games from Game Pass in a month. That's not too difficult for me. And then there's Game Pass monthly 8-pack as well. The 4-pack is worth 50 points, and the 8-pack is worth 350 points. And I try to combine that with my my online and my playing my Game Pass games and all that stuff. So I kind of try to split those. But yeah, so that's they're back, and I don't know how long they'll keep them. I don't know when they'll remove them or when they'll nerf them. But for now, you can get more points than you could last week.
Yeah, it's weird that they keep tweaking it like all the time. It's just annoying. Because like some days you'll log in and it'll be like, oh, instead of 5 points on the Bing stuff, it'll be 2 points. And you're like, what? This makes no sense at all.
Yeah,
and then a week later it'll go back to 5. And you're just like, what?
Like, did somebody upload the wrong code or something? And then that's the other thing. This isn't really tied to the stuff you can do on the rewards site in a web browser or anything. But I also go over. I'm trying to be better about doing that, and hopefully this thing will remind me to go do that and just try to get some points. Like I said, I don't get everything. I don't pick up every last point I can per day, like some people do. But I kind of stride the middle there.
Yeah, some days I do get everything, and other days I'm just busy or I'm just not mentally there, so I don't do everything. I did want to add one thing that you forgot to mention. You have to play these games for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You can't just log in, and because in the past, before they took off some of these quests, you could just load up some of the games, like the Game Pass Explorer, where you got like 3 games, 4 games, or whatever. I would just have some games that were really like basically the smallest megabyte games that were on there, and I would just keep them on my hard drive. I'd load them up for the monthly quest, and not weekly quest, monthly quest, and then I would just, after it got to like the title screen, I would just exit out and go to the next game, and eventually it would do it. Now it says on there you have to do it for 15 minutes.
And that was also confusing too, because it used to work one way and then you'd play and like something wouldn't take over. I did mention it for the PC game. I meant to mention that it holds true for everything now.
Okay.
So anything where it's like play a Game Pass game or play a PC game or play a console game, those things all require 15 minutes worth of play. So that doesn't mean you have to be active, right? That doesn't mean your game has to be up and running and your console, or I guess your controller's alive. I don't know. I don't know if you can just leave your console off or your controller off and have it count, but whatever. Hopefully you're playing games, and hopefully if you're confused as to why it's not happening, make sure you're playing for 15 minutes at a time.
Yeah, so for the PC side of things, an easy game I have installed on my hard drive is Unpacking. So I just load that up. Usually when my wife and I are watching shows at night, I'll just have my laptop on the side and just have it on the title screen. And after 15 minutes, I'll get a notification on my phone. Hey, you played for 15 minutes. Here's your rewards and everything.
Nice.
And then today, I was like, oh, I need to start doing those quests and everything. So I loaded up. I think I had 8 games exactly on my hard drive right now. So I tried just loading them up. Once I got to the eighth game, I went to my rewards section on my profile, and there wasn't anything there. I was like, wait, what? And then I was like, well, maybe I have to play the games for a little bit, because I didn't see the little asterisk that said you had to play it for 15 minutes. I opened Open Roads while I was doing some stuff around the house, and I went back to it, and it had counted it. So I was just on the title screen for that. So I don't think you have to actually go into the game and play it, but I think it's kind of like what they've been doing with PC Game Pass, that you just will stay on it for 15 minutes or so, and then it'll finally check. So.
And that's per month. So that's pretty easy to like space that out.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it all one day. So.
Yep. So those are the new quests. If you want to earn some points, there are more opportunities for you to do that from now on. The other bit of news that we got recently was the Xbox Developer Direct is on January 23rd. This is going to highlight some games that are coming out soon, like Doom, South of Midnight, Claire Obscure, and we got a teaser that there is going to be a new unannounced game that is not a remake or a port or anything. So why don't you head over to Podcast Discussion and let's hear your thoughts on what game they are going to announce. Any thoughts from you, Koosh? Anything that you want to see?
I don't know anything I want to see. Obviously, I don't want it to be a management game or simulation.
My heart.
Sorry.
I know. I'm just kidding.
I also don't want to see a driving game. So I'm just hoping. Yeah, I'm hoping for brand new. I guess this isn't. Yeah, because this is the Developer Direct. So, and it's Doom something. So we should see. So this should be an Xbox exclusive, right? Or I'm sorry, not Xbox exclusive, but an Xbox developer.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I don't know, because I mean we have Doom, which is from Bethesda, and Claire Obscure is from, what is they from again? I can't remember. But they're from something.
Yeah, I'd have to look that up. But in any case, I'm excited for new IP as long as it's not simulation or management or sports or driving. So give me an action game. Love action. What I want? I want to see Ori 3. Just do it.
There you go.
There you go. Not in the Xbox wheelhouse, but maybe it could happen.
Claire Obscura is Sandfall Interactive, which I do remember from the picture because we were talking about that before. So that's Sandfall Interactive for Claire Obscura 33 or Expedition 33. Mm-hmm. That would. I know a lot of people would like Ori 3. I think Moon Studios is doing something else right now, aren't they?
Yes, they are. They're doing. Can't remember what it's called, but it's I
remember seeing the
roguelike.
preview. Yeah,
or roguelike.
Oh, is it that person? Isn't that the one where it's a bunch of people? Is that that game? Or am I thinking of
a bunch of people?
It's like you're supposed to play with like 99 people or 100 people or something in the game.
No, that's not them.
That's not them. Okay, I thought it was for some reason, but
just because I love the idea of all the listeners just shouting at the podcast, I'm gonna say it's Thunderful Games or something like that, or having something to do with Thunderful, which is that 99.
Yeah. It's like you have a whole bunch of people and you're fighting. Enemies. Kind of look like a Diablo type game.
Yeah, no, it's not that. It's more like I'll say it's more like a Hades type.
Type, yeah.
Yeah, kind of a Hades type, but drawn back a little more 3D. Yeah. Can't remember the name of it now.
Yeah, I'm excited. I always like hearing about new games. We've got Avowed coming up, and we've got some other stuff, and so I'm excited for them to announce a new game. It seems like they're kind of making January another big directive month for them. So I'm excited for it, and hopefully Elle and I will be able to record after it happens, and we can see all the good news that comes from it. So be looking forward to that. That is coming up on January 23rd. Let me just
It was bugging me. I had to look it up. It's No Rest for the Wicked. That's what Moon Studios is working on.
No, that's right. I remember seeing that title card now.
Yeah, it's a great title.
All right, so last bit, the developer direct is 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. for those other GMT people that we don't need to talk about, because I still have not seen an Xbox 360 in the river, Chewy, so that's all right. He says he still needs to place his games, so. All right, so that is the news items that we have today, so we are going to move to the game showcase. Koosh, what have you been playing recently?
Okay, so my Sunday night group, we tend to pick longer games, and then we just play them forever and ever. So we changed things up. We've been talking about playing this for a while, but I don't think anyone had tried it. Deep Rock Galactic. It's in Game Pass. We fired it up, and some of us are a little more addicted than others. I won't name any names, Fug. So you're safe. It is a first-person shooter, basically. With a walkthrough on TA, has 67 achievements, and it comes in at a whopping 300 to 500 hour estimate. So this is not something you're going to want to jump into lightly if you're a completionist. You're going to want to think about this. But if you don't care, let me tell you about the game. Or you do care and you're interested, let me tell you about the game. Number one, this game has a lot of updates. It's got a lot of seasons. I want to say 5 or 6. I think 5. But they're free. They're basically content updates to the game. They include different cosmetics. They might add new features to the games. I don't know. I came in during this season, so I don't really know how the game has grown, but just know that if they follow their current pattern and they continue to upgrade things or update things, I don't believe you're going to have to pay for most seasons. Maybe at some point they'll hit a mark and you have to, but for now, everything seems to be included. Once again, it's in Game Pass, but it seems to go on sale for $10, down from the standard price of $30. So if you jump in, know that at some point you're probably going to hit a sale that you can pick it up for $10 if it leaves Game Pass and it's something you want to complete and you haven't been able to find 300 to 500 hours to complete it. It can be played solo, but it will require, some of the achievements will require 4 players. And that's really where these longer games come in. And that's why we, our group picks these types of games because, they're just fun to play. And even though it can be done solo, it's more fun or easier to do certain things in a group. When you're solo, however, because you don't have other people, you have a drone, and that drone is something you can kind of command. You can you can go to look at something up on a wall in the cave with L bumper, and that'll put like a little target on it that'll tell you what you're looking at. And then you can hit right trigger, and that'll tell your drone, who's named Bosco, and he'll go and he'll start mining that for you. Then you can collect all the stuff as it drops on the floor. Actually, all of these dwarves are really kind of funny. They have like little shout outs as they go. They say they're real grumpy, so they'll say stuff about Bosco. They'll say stuff about the other bot that comes with you on most mission types, which is the one that you put all your gems and resources into. And he talks about that all the time poorly. Does not like it. Makes fun of it all the time. You have 4 different miners that you can pick from, and you're not required to have a team of 4 that are all different. You have everyone going as the same class. The first class is a digger, and what's unique about the digger is they have these power drills that will allow you to drill through walls really quickly. Everyone else has to use a pickaxe, but this driller can use a pickaxe, or they can use these drill gears that they have to just basically walk through a wall and make a tunnel as they go. It's really good. They also have C4 explosives. They can do a really big area of damage. Then you have the engineer class. What's unique about the engineer is they can make platforms. So they have a platform gun that when you shoot, as soon as it collides with a wall, that projectile collides with the wall, it makes like a little platform for you to be able to jump and stand on. And that never goes away. You can mine it if you want to, if you need to get rid of it. But basically that'll stay there forever, and that'll help you to climb or descend or whatever. The other thing that engineer can do is they can put down auto turrets. And that's really good because they're, in these mines, you're not alone. There'll be bugs that'll come after you every now and then, and you'll have to take them out. And those turrets really help. Next up is the gunner. The gunner has a zipline gun. They'll basically just be able to create a zip line from this platform to that area or whatever. And the nice thing about that is it's reusable. So anybody can use it once the gunner has laid down that zip line. The other thing they can do is they can drop a dome shield that everyone can go inside of and be protected from projectiles. A scout has a grappling hook, which is solo. So they can kind of zip around all the level, go find stuff, get away from things. That's why, they're a scout. And the second thing they can do is they have a flare gun. And that flare gun is better than the standard flares that everybody carries. They can shoot that off, and it'll last longer, and it's much brighter. It'll basically light up an entire room. So when you're playing in a group, it's really nice to have a full group that has all those abilities, because then it just makes it easier to get done what you need to get done. I should mention that the areas that you're going to, these cave systems that you're going into, they're generated. They're randomly generated, and they're kind of like, I guess it's kind of like Minecraft, and that you can just kind of dig through walls. Like, oh, I see this cave system is kind of windy, but if I could just dig through that wall, I could just avoid this whole wing over here. Well, you can totally do that. You can do that with your pickaxe, or if you have a miner or a digger, they can just dig straight through the wall. And that's really handy and really kind of cool. Each dwarf can level up 25 or to get to level 25. So as you complete things, you'll be earning experience as you complete missions. If you fail a mission, you'll get a little bit of experience. If you complete it successfully, you'll get more. But every dwarf can level up to level 25. And as you do that, you get new abilities, you get new upgrades. You have a couple of different slots you can choose from different abilities for each one of those slots. So they kind of have this built into it. You can't just do anything you want, but you can choose from certain options. Those might be things like be able to carry more gems, be able to carry more ammo, do more damage, those sorts of things. And you have presets. So you can choose all that stuff. If you have one that works really well solo, you save that preset. If you have one that works really well in multiplayer, you save that as a preset. After 25, you can do a series of missions which will allow you that dwarf to prestige. So, and what happens at that point, they get a little bit extra. They open up like a new slot for extra abilities or perks that they can put on. Perks are things like do less damage to friendly units, or I guess deposit gems faster, all that kind of stuff. So you get one more slot as a result of that, but then you'll also be able to start earning more XP again to get to your next prestige level. but you'll keep all of your abilities, you'll keep all of your weapons. None of that stuff goes away. You keep it. It's basically just a prestige system. But unlike Call of Duty or Titanfall, when you prestige, you don't lose all the weapons that you had unlocked along the way. You get to keep all that stuff. So that's pretty good. You definitely want to do that. If you're going for the completion, you're going to have to do that on each dwarf 7 times.
Ooh.
Yeah, this
lot.
is the grind. So when you saw that 300, 500 hour estimate, it's because of this. And that's really where the grind comes in. Yeah, I have here that the mines are mostly dark, but you have unlimited flares that you can throw, or if you have a scout, you can use their flare gun to help everybody.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, because when you said the flare gun, I was like, oh, the level's dark, so...
Yes, these caves are dark. However, there are things that glow. There are minerals. Some minerals glow, some plants glow, some enemies glow.
Okay.
But for the most part, if you didn't have a flare, you wouldn't be happy. You'd be really grumpy having to run through this place. So you definitely, but the nice thing about those personal flares is that they recharge. So I think you have a set of 4. So you kind of toss one out, you run around for a little bit, you toss another one out. And if you get to the end of your 4 free ones, you just wait a little while and they kind of build back up. So you will never run out of them. You just won't have them as available as you want them to be, unless you're a scout. You can, like I said, you can dig through just about everything that's there. There's some things I guess you can't dig through. But for the most part, like 90% of the stuff is diggable. You can dig around it. And if you have a digger to help you build a tunnel, that's really nice. There's different mission types. So sometimes you'll be going in to collect certain elements, or maybe you'll go in for an escort type mission, or collect this type of mineral, a certain amount of this mineral, or these alien eggs. So they have different, they have a whole bunch of different ones. The variety's not bad. There's another one that's like an espionage type thing. You have to go stop this other rival digging company. You have to take down this defensive system that they built. So that one's kind of interesting and very different than just collecting minerals. A couple different biomes, which that doesn't change it too much, but it does affect kind of the structure of the level. You might find that you hate certain biomes. Mm-hmm. Some of them might have like sulfuric acid or something, or like little tufts where hot air is coming up and they jet you around or they burn you. You may not like that, but for the most part, it doesn't change it too much.
Do you get to do you get to choose your biome, or when you're
doing as you're going through? Well, initially you're forced to go on a certain set of missions, which kind of take you through the different biomes.
Okay.
Along that introductory path, no, you can't change it. Gotcha. After you've gotten through those first several levels and whatever, things open up. Like new abilities open up, new mission types open up. And you eventually get to a challenge system where you can go in, you can look at these, a couple different challenges that they'll give you. Like say, oh, if you want this helmet, you can go do these 4 missions. Cool. Or like we just had a holiday, right? So, and for like New Year's and for Christmas, they had a special thing going on where you could go do these other things and you would get these old like Santa suits and like a reindeer hat, like a snow globe helmet. Really kind of cool cosmetics. So I ran a bunch of missions for those. But then they also, as you level up your dwarf, you'll get missions that will allow you to use new primary weapons. For instance, the engineer has a shotgun. And I think you get a better type of shotgun for the next level. I've been playing scout mostly. You kind of start with a machine gun, and then you also get like this kind of plasma gun. And so if you don't like their starting weapon, don't worry. You might get a weapon for that class that you like a little bit better. I think each dwarf gets 3 primary and 3 secondary weapons, and you can mix and match which ones you want to use as you're going along. As for the achievements, they kind of break down. Like I said, there's 67 of them, so I'm not going to go over them all. But there's do this certain action so many times. There's promotions, so promoting each of the dwarfs, I think one time, having all of them done once, all of them done a certain amount. So there's more than one of those. There's completing missions on different hazard levels, and those are basically just difficulty tiers. Like, how tough are the enemies going to be? How many enemies are there? And that goes from 1 to 5. the difficulty, and there are achievements that kind of go along the way. I think with starting at 3, so 3, 4, 5. There's completing deep dives. Deep dives are special missions where it's three missions back to back with no break in between, and you need to succeed in all 3 of them to complete it. So there's obviously give you better rewards for being able to do that, and there's also achievements tied to doing so many of those. There's collecting certain rare items. Every now and then, while you're in a cave system, you'll see like a section of the wall that has like these little circle or little bubbles on the wall. There's a certain type of element hidden in that wall that's used as currency, but it also goes towards an achievement. And there's other ones that have like little crystals, and so you'll learn all that as you're playing. But just know that there are some things that are very rare or fairly rare, but you'll get them in 300 to 500 hours. Let's see what else. Collecting those certain items. Then there's killing dreadnoughts. There are little mini bosses every now and then, and especially in certain mission types, there'll be little mini bosses in the level you have to kill. Not too difficult, depending on the difficulty level, but that's an achievement. Then there's the promotions, prestiges I talked about. And then there is what I like to call barrel goofiness. Inside the hub world, where you're selecting your missions and you're outfitting your dwarves and all that, you're basically on a space station, and you on that space station there are 25 barrels scattered around 3 different tiers of the base. You have an achievement for dumping all of those into kind of like this area below the main level where I guess trash goes. There's an achievement for getting all 25 barrels down there. There's an achievement for putting all 25 barrels on the shuttle that you take to go do your missions. There's an achievement for putting barrels in the seats of the shuttle that goes to your mission. There's a barrel toss game you have to do, which is timing based. There's a hoop that goes back and forth from side to side, and it speeds up or slows down. And you have to get 3,000 points with 100 barrel throws total. And that achievement does take some skill and some practice. And yeah, you'll eventually get it. But I've chipped away at that a little bit. I got really close. I got to 91% of the achievement on my last try. And then I was like, I need to go actually play the game some. But yeah, so there's some goofiness. And some of that barrel stuff might be easier with multiple people. It's very frustrating to do it as a single player. We haven't really committed to doing that as a group yet because it's just, it's more fun to go and do a level. But eventually, one day we'll be like, okay, it's time to get the barrel achievements, and then we'll kind of work together to get that. But that is Deep Rock Galactic. If you have a group, you might want to check it out. If you're going to do the solo, just know that you're going to make it harder to do some of these achievements. Obviously, you're going to lock yourself out of some achievements if you don't play with other people. There are some achievements that require you to have 4 people in a party. But for the most part, as you're grinding, you can play solo or you can just jump into random games. That's actually one of the suggestions that they give to grinding out the XP is to look for missions that have been going on for close to half an hour or have been going on for a little while and jump in towards the end of those missions because you will get full credit for any mission you complete, even if you've only been there for a minute. So that's one of the suggestions they say to do your grinding. But that is Deep Rock Galactic, and hopefully I didn't waste your time.
The most importantly, since I have you here and not L, is there Hobbit riding barrels?
Is there Hobbit riding a barrel? No.
Oh. Missed a Lord of the Rings. I guess they missed a Hobbit achievement there. They could have.
You cannot throw a dwarf.
No throwing of dwarves, and no. There's a section in the Hobbit where the hobbits have to, where the dwarves and the Hobbit have to ride in the barrels and everything to get out of the Elf Kingdom and everything. So I was saying that's a perfect opportunity.
No, you don't
for
ride.
That.
Yeah, you don't ride in a barrel. I think you can jump on them, but you can't ride in them now.
So it sounds like you have to do, like you said, you have to do stuff a certain amount of times. Is there tracking for that, or do you have to, or a statistics page or something?
Yes.
Okay.
It's got. I think it actually has both, but it does have achievement tracking. Thank you, developers, for doing that and making sure it works. That is great. However, I have heard that as they put out, new updates for the game, maybe new seasons. Sometimes those trackers reset. So, but the seasons are pretty long. So, if you're working on some things, I think it's mostly the collectibles, like get this type of material 20 times or 10 times. And they may have even fixed it. I just know that looking through the solutions, I've seen them mention, oh, it seems like my counter reset. But
so with it resetting, does it still keep your progress? It'll unlock when it's supposed to. Okay. So even though
so let's say you have to get 10 things, right? Your progress bar will show 7. And then if they reset that count, it'll still say 7, but it won't start updating until you go back in again after the update. That's the theory. I go back in after the update and get your 8th one, and then bam, progress starts working again.
Okay.
So you do lose the count. The progress shows up on your achievement, but you still have to redo it again. That's what they're saying. I cannot say whether or not that is still happening. I know that happened in the past. People have mentioned it. I haven't run into any issues yet, but once again, I've been in season 5 the entire time.
That's good that you haven't had any issues yourself.
Yeah.
So I have one friend, shout out to Mr. Manwy, who has completed this game. And you want to guess how many hours he's put into it, according to TA? I'll throw a number out there.
If someone's completed it, I'm going to say they liked it. I'm going to say 700.
Close. 662 hours, or almost 663 hours, I guess.
That's
total.
Crazy. Let me see who I know that's played it.
He's the only one on my friends list that's completed it. The next person has about half the achievements in it. So,
I don't know anyone that's completed it. I don't think Lego completed it. Tino Forge. No, he has definitely not completed it. The next highest is one of my guys. Actually, the next 2 highest on my friends list are 2 of the people that I play with. And they have 140. These guys are really into it. 140 and 157 hours.
Ooh.
They're at like the 49 and 43% mark. I have put in 41 hours.
Yeah, I was going to say on my TA it says just about 42 for you.
Yeah, I put in just under 42 hours, and I have 39% of the achievements, but I still have a couple easy ones I could get. Things like one of the things I didn't mention, like buying a round of drinks for everybody at the bar, playing the music so many times. Things that are pretty easy. They don't involve going out and grinding these levels, but I just haven't picked those up yet just because I didn't feel like it. So I could be a little higher at that hour count, but yeah. And then we've got my friend Saucy Slingo with 226 hours and only 46% complete. So I don't know if it's him or if it's his son playing. I don't know. But yeah, so you can dump a lot of time into this.
So this is published by Coffee Stain Studios, developed by Ghost Ship Games. Came out in early release of February 28th, 2018. Full released in 2020, May 13th, 2020. Mm-hmm. It's got just under 171,000 people, which is crazy. That's for such a big game. That shows, I think, how people like it, because on average, TA has a 4.04 rating, so that's pretty good, I think.
Yeah, 1,126 votes for that 404. So
I think that's a pretty good rating, but only 254 people have completed it. So, and did you mention this is Game Pass?
I did. I mentioned right at the top that it's Game Pass, and also that it frequently goes on sale down to $10 down from $30. I've seen it go on sale, at least 2 times based on the price history or whatever. Perfect. So if you get into it and you like it and you don't have 300 or 500 hours in the 2 weeks that they give you to finish it, just know that you can pick it up. It's not a math podcast, but whatever. But just know that if you liked it and they just happen to say, "Oh, we're done with this game in 2 weeks," just know that you could eventually pick it up down the road for about $10 if you wait.
Well, so 2 weeks times 24 hours a day, that's 336 hours. So if you hit the bare minimum, go 2 weeks straight, not sleeping, not working, eating pretty much nothing.
That'd be super efficient with no sleep and no eating. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's how long has it been on Game Pass? I feel like it's been on Game Pass for a long time.
I feel like it has been a long time, yes.
So I feel like it might be one of those ones. I feel like it's like 5 or 6 years, because TA used to do those articles that were like, oh, this one's been on for this many years, it might go soon. I feel like I saw that one on there, so it might be one of those Game Pass lifer ones, but
it looks like, and TA says it's on Game Pass Core and Game Pass Standard. So it should be available to everyone that has Game Pass. no matter what level of Game Pass you have.
Well, that sounds a lot of fun. I know it's one that I've seen. I haven't looked at some gameplay. I've been meaning to check it out. It's intrigued me,
Yeah,
and I'm glad that you
and
and your group like it. So
one of Thug's favorite things are the different shout outs that the dwarves do. And actually thinking about the shout outs made me think about the little transport. It's Molly, because one of the dwarves just yells at Molly like how long it takes Molly to come over and let you put your resources in it. But yeah, and it's really fun. Some of their shout outs. It's almost worth it just for that.
any pop culture shout outs at all, or just mostly
No.
in-game?
It's all
Okay.
just game specific stuff.
Gotcha.
Nothing, no pop culture.
Well, great. I'm glad that you like it. You did a great review on it. That's a Deep Rock Galactic. Check that out on TA. Check out some gameplay video on YouTube. See if that's something that sounds interesting to you. It definitely looks interesting to me. I gotta check out some gameplay. So thanks very much for sharing that game with us. We are just gonna keep the theme alive of long Game Pass games because I'm bringing Assassin's Creed Valhalla to the stage. I know in the last recording that we did, that was one of my goals for last year or this year to start Valhalla, and I did it right before the end of the year. And I have just kind of kept playing it. I've been meaning to get into Figment because of it leaving Game Pass. I haven't started it yet, and I started that game today, but all of my time have been going on Assassin's Creed Valhalla. TA says I have about 40 hours into it right now. I started it on December 22nd, so I've been playing a good chunk of it so far. I thought I would have enough time to kind of do a first part review on it because the game is massive. It is just, it's one of the biggest, or probably it's I would say it's the longest Assassin's Creed game to date. TA for all the DLC and everything has an estimate of 160 to 200 hours. Which is just crazy. I remember when these games were 20, 25 hours to complete 100%. I mean, that's 8 times that, and it's just crazy. It came out on November 10th, 2020, so this came out right during COVID. And so I can see why it was very popular during that time as people were kind of being shut in their houses and everything and can just kind of, do the remote working or however they were doing their jobs and then just playing this for a few hours every night because the game is so massive that you can just go days if you wanted to and not even touch the story because there's so much other content in there to play. And I'm not saying it's good content, but there's just other content available to do. And I can just see how you can just get lost for hours. I mean, there's some days where I'll sit down for an hour or two and I won't touch the story and I'll just, be exploring the different things that are available on the map. And I think it's a little bit to its detriment in this first review that I'm doing. I feel like the game is it's too big for its own good. There's so many different things pulling at you that I think it really takes away from what made people really fall in love with the Assassin's Creed game. And I think it just kind of got a little bit of boost because I remember reading an article, I think that it made over $1 billion worth of sales. And I think it was just because of the time it came out during COVID where people were just mostly staying at home that kind of brought this attention to the game and people were willing to do that. Whereas now I think people kind of like their games a little bit more fast and quick. But so you start out as a Viking named Eivor. You have the option to choose the sex of the person. You can be a boy, you can be a girl, or they give you a third option that kind of leaves it a little bit discreet, which I thought was kind of fun. When I usually start these games, it's usually a few years after I've been kind of a few years behind on the Assassin's Creed series. So by that time, Ubisoft has come out or someone that is involved with games come out and say, hey, this character is the main character that we're going with for the lore moving forward. So I researched it before I started because I like to play as that. I don't care if it's male or female or whatever. But this time the consensus is choose this extra option here and just have it be more fluid where it's not really said that it is a man or a woman. So I chose it. There is some dialogue options that I'm not going to spoil or anything that kind of have been available as I've been going through the story and everything. But I thought that was kind of an interesting twist that they did something different with it. You pick up early on in Avor's life. I mean, I would guess she's probably 6, 7, 8, probably not 6, probably about 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there. She has a tragedy happen. She has an older brother. Big tragedy happens in their life in the prologue. And after that, that's about an hour, 2 hours long. And then you set forward about, I'm going to say 15-ish years in the future. And so obviously she's an adult now. He or she's an adult now. And they have a... I'm trying to think. I want to keep it free so that if you decide you want to play it, if you're a fan of the series, that you're not going to be like, oh yeah, I'm not going to spoil it, even though it is 4 or 5 years old now. You have another event that happens in your life. So you and your brother take off and you sail from your hometown to England. So most of the game is set in England. And I really would like to hear from if any of my friends that are, from, or people in the Discord are from England, how accurate it be, because I don't really know much about the landscape and the other aspects of the English, I guess, landscaping, I guess is what I could say. So I'd be interesting to see if it is pretty accurate or not. But it looks beautiful. As you sail into there, you find a patch of land that I guess you kind of just claim as your own, and you start a settlement there. A new aspect of this game is you are in charge of building up your settlement. You start with, at that time, Vikings had their longhouses, so you have a longhouse there. You have a few little shops and everything, but you're in charge of, along with progressing the story, to also building up your settlement. The way you do that is you can get 2 different supplies as you're out exploring the world. And the best way to get these supplies is by raiding other settlements or raiding other monasteries. So what you can do, you have a longship at your command with people in them. So you can either sail to a location on your map that has the symbol to show that you can raid there, or you can use your horse and travel there on foot if you want, or on your horse, whatever you want to do. And then you have the option to, if you're on the ship, you have the option to land or to dock at this place and then raid it. Or if you're on horseback or on your foot, you have an option wheel to pull out your horn, your crew will come, and then you start the raid. Raids last about 5-ish minutes or so. They're nothing big, but on the map, it'll show you where the wealth is for that area that you pick up. So so far, all I've seen are like loot chests, usually behind a door. You'll call a friend over, you'll bust the door down, kill some guys that might be in there, open up the chest, and it'll provide you with the supplies, some of the type of supplies, and you can go to another place, find another chest or another bit of wealth. And if you do that, usually you'll have enough to upgrade something back home. So you can do that however much time, and then you'll have to progress the story to open up more parts of your land to be able to develop that. So that's one aspect of the game. Let's see. So you have England, you have your little bit of land that you start out with, and then pretty much everywhere, like they've done in Origins and Odyssey, the different lands, they'll tell you as you're on your map in the select screen that it'll tell you a suggested power level for that area. So obviously you'll start at 0, or I guess you'll start at 1. And then as you kill enemies, as you do story missions, as you do anything, you'll get reward, or you'll get skill points that you can use that'll upgrade your power level. So that way, when you go to a different area, if it says suggested power level is 90 and you're close enough, like 80, 85, you'll be fine. But if you're like 30 and try to go in there, some of those guys will kill you pretty fast. So just keep, doing story missions, keep doing things to earn XP, and the XP comes pretty fast, and you'll be able to level up your skills and everything to be able to go into those new areas without any harm. So the meat of what I think is the issue with Assassin's Creed Valhalla is as you are exploring it. So far, I believe in England, there's got to be, I want to say 10 or 12 areas minimum. Each area has 3 different collectible things that you need to do as you're going into these areas. There's one that's called Wealth. That usually involves like the raids where you will... finding the loot chests. There's also some other things like books of knowledge that you can find that'll give you new skills to learn. So usually something involving that, anything that's like wealth related, you have to find X amount in each area. Some areas are smaller and maybe they only have 10 or 12 things, whereas other areas are bigger and they have 20 plus collectibles that you need to find. So there is an achievement at the end that you have to go through all the main base in the base game, all the main areas. You have to find every single thing in all the areas. So I mean, that's, I don't know what the ratio is on that, but it's got to be absurd because it's ridiculous how much stuff there is. So wealth is the first one. The second one in the areas are mysteries. Those are usually side quest, world event type things where you'll go to an area on the map and it'll say, this person will be like, oh, I need to burn my house down so I can start anew or something like that, but I don't have the heart to do it. And so you throw a torch on their house, you blow it up. Oh, thank you for doing it. And then you'll move on. Some of them are like a minute long. Some of them are 5-6 minutes long. They kind of vary, but as you go out, you'll do these events. The box will get ticked off and you'll move on to another one. So there's usually, again, there's a little bit less in the wealth in each area, but there's still minimum of 5 to 10 in each area, upwards to 12, 15. So that's another thing that you need to do in each area. And the last one is artifacts, which are usually some kind of Roman mask or something else that you just need to pick up and everything. So again, there's 10, 15 minimum in every map, upwards to, I've seen 20, close to 20 or so in that. So not only are you go through this area and like your home base area maybe has like 15, 20 of each of those, but then you go to the next area and it's got 15, 20, and then the next area. So each area basically has, 30 to 45 things that you need to find or do in that area. Multiply that by the, like I said, the 10, 12 minimum areas that are in England. And there's other areas that I haven't visited yet that I know that I need to as well. And so it's just a lot of collectibles, which again, I think are just not necessary, not needed for this game. So far I have been kind of dividing my time. Some days I'll just end up going to an area and just going through all those 3 different aspects of it, the wealth and the mysteries and the artifacts. And I'll just be like, okay, I'm just going to clear this out. I'll turn some music on, turn a podcast on, and I'll just go and collect them, which I don't mind doing. I really don't. But this is just another level that's just crazy how much stuff you have to do. And then another time I'll be on there for an hour or two and I'll just do straight story missions. So the story missions involve, after you get to this new area, your brother's wife is in charge of kind of cultivating relationship with the different areas. So you'll go and you'll talk to her and you'll say, what area should I do? She'll show you the map and it'll say, suggest the power of this one. So you'll choose one that's within your power level. And then she'll be like, oh yeah, I know this mission or this person over here is your contact. Go talk to them basically and open up this area and figure out what they need to do. So you'll go talk to them. And most of the time it's you helping them to be, to overthrow an oppressive, regime at that place. And so you'll do 10 missions or so in that little story arc. You'll put them in position of power for that area. And then you'll say, hey, whenever I call you, will you come help me since I helped you? And they'll be like, yeah, of course I will. You help me out and all that stuff. So that'll usually give you an achievement. And I'm sure something later on, as I finish the story, we'll figure, out what's going to happen if I have to call on those people. So that's basically what I'm doing right now. The stories are kind of more loosely based than it has been in the past. In Odyssey, you're trying to figure out, your heritage and everything. In Origins, you had that unfortunate incident that happened in the family with him and everything. And so this one's a little bit less story based. It just feels like you're just kind of going to each territory and just kind of helping the person out and putting them in power and everything. And then you're moving on to something else. And so I know it's all coming together. Some little bits of an overarching story are present as you are doing these little story missions, but it just feels very like you're just being, it just doesn't feel very connective to me at all. But yeah, so let's see, we talked about that. There is DLC in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I have not gotten to it yet. Most of those are more, it seems like it's more in-game stuff as I might do like the introductory mission for the DLC. It'll be like, oh, suggested power is like 250. And I'm like, I think right now I'm at like 130 or something. So I still got a ways to go. So mostly I'm just kind of sticking to story, sticking to the collectibles right now, because there's just so much XP that you earn doing that stuff. And then you can use that XP in the skill tree, which again, I feel like is another fault of this game. The skill tree is just so unorganized. It's just all over the place. It's not like it has been in the past. I don't like it at all. I really don't. Like I just haven't been touching it as much as I should have because it's just not very concise. I feel like I like the games where it's like, here, you do this, you get a level up and then you put a point in this skill and then you get that skill and everything. And this one is just all over the place where you'll get a skill point and then you could there's different paths that you can take that will give you different abilities. But then as you're going down certain paths, it'll be like, okay, well, now you can have 1 times your light attack speed. It's like, okay, well, great. Well, the next one is 1 times your resistant to heavy attacks. And so it just is very like you're slowly building it up, which I don't have a problem with. But at the same time, it feels very disorganized to me. And I don't like it at all. There are resources in the game that you can collect as you're going around the map. You can use those resources to upgrade the sword or axe or whatever weapon you want to use. You can use that for shields as well. You can upgrade your health. You can upgrade just basically all different aspects of it. Just collect everything and use it to upgrade your character. Let's see. I will, and then the last thing I want to mention is this just does not feel like an Assassin's Creed game. The Assassin's part of the story has just been very prevalent in a lot of the other ones. Odyssey, not so much either, but at least there was a very grounded story with it being the Assassin's part of it. Valhalla, it's very tacked on. It just feels like they're tacking it on just to say, oh yeah, we got this Assassin's thing over here, but don't worry about that. Don't worry about the Order of the Ancients, which is very similar to how they did things in Origins and Odyssey. Don't worry about that. Just go create these relationships with this other thing. Like, it's just very like the Assassins and the Templar or Order of the Ancients, they come in at little bits throughout the story, but it just feels like they're just throwing it in there just to be able to say, oh yeah, we're doing an Assassin's Creed game. So I know that they wanted to have that title on there to be able to sell it and say, hey, yeah, this is our big franchise, Assassin's Creed and everything, but it just feels like an action adventure game to me. Like, it just feels like I'm playing as a Viking, which is not a bad thing. It's very brutal. The combat's very brutal. Like, you're chopping guys' heads off. You're creating finishing moves that are very brutal, which is good because you're playing as a Viking. It's not a sweet time. You're not like you're not dancing with people or anything. So they captured that essence really well, but the Assassin's Creed part, it just seems like it's on the back burner. Like, it's not really part of the main story. And so I would have to say overall, I'm very disappointed with this game. And I know a lot of people don't like it. They say it's a lot of similar critiques that I have. And I hope that I know that a lot of people like Mirage a lot more, so I am looking forward to that in the future. And I'm hoping that they take the criticism that they faced for Valhalla and shifted it for their new game that's coming out, Shadows, that's coming out soon. So,
but if it wasn't an Assassin's Creed game, would you feel the same way?
I think I would like it more if they took away all that part, because it is a good base game. If they took out a lot of the critiques that I mentioned, they boiled down some of these quests that you have to, not quests, collectibles that you have to do. If they just cut those things down tremendously and just created a good game that you could finish in the 40-50 hours, I think it would be a lot more enjoyable.
Now, you also mentioned the collectathon and like having to get like these certain things from these certain areas. Is that all done through the old tower method? Like, you find the tower and okay, so you don't have to discover them. Once you do the tower, it'll point out where everything is and you just go get it whenever.
Yeah, that's my MO as I play these games. I always as I'm going to new areas, I find the tower, the Leap of Faith tower, as quick as possible. And once you do that in the whatever little area that it is, because there's usually about 2 or 3 Leap of Faith per each territory, English territory that you're going to. So as you do that, it'll mark all of the wealth, all of the mysteries, all of the artifacts in that area. And so they'll come up as little different colored circles at the top of your map, depending on whatever way you're looking at. And so you can just follow those and find them. Some of them have a little light puzzle element that you might have to go underground, find the cave to go underground, or you might have to do some stuff. And there's a lot of different other, I'm not touching on it because there's probably 10 or 15 different activities that you can do for all of these things, but it's just all encompassed in those 3 main things of wealth, mysteries, and artifacts. And you'll see them all. You don't have to purchase anything. You don't have to, buy any, or, go find a map or something like that at a vendor. It marks everything on the map for you.
Now, and I had one other comment, sort of question, just sort of checking things out. I don't know if you've watched, but there's two shows in particular that were, as you were mentioning all the stuff that you're doing, I was just like, oh man, this sounds. Actually, I'm really excited because The Last Kingdom. I don't know if you saw that TV series or Vikings, the TV series. Did you watch either of those?
I know of them. I have not watched them yet.
Oh, okay, because like I was just getting really excited because I was, I liked those shows. They did go a little bit long. They probably went a couple, a season or two longer than they should have, each of them. But yeah, what you were saying, like with all the brutality and the fighting and the different areas and where they're landing and they're taking stuff, and it just all sounds like they stayed. At least both of these properties were playing off the same map, basically the same set of stuff, and that makes me excited.
Yeah, and they do a good job of creating a very good, like, abundant Viking game. It's just they did a great job, but it just felt like they just tacked on because they obviously Assassin's Creed is one of their top properties that they just tacked that stuff on because early on in the game, one of a person from it's not really spoilers because it's an Assassin's Creed game, but early on they your brother knows somebody in the Assassin's Order, and they come in, which is fine. But then he's like, "Oh yeah, just let me give you the tool to assassinate people and everything." And the student's like, "Well, why are you doing this? That person hasn't gone through the necessary, steps to be able to do it." "Oh, it doesn't matter." And it's like, okay, well, you're just kind of throwing all the Assassin's Creed stuff out the window and just trying to give her all the tools, give him or her all the tools, whatever your character you choose, give them all the tools and everything just really quick and just move forward with the game instead of understanding what makes Assassin's Creed. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I'm excited. I'm getting more into it. It took about 20-ish hours or so. I'm getting more into it where I'm, enjoying more of the story. I'm doing more of the territories, getting them under my banner basically and everything. And the story is starting to pick up a little bit. So like I said, I'm about 40-ish hours into it so far. And I still got a ways to go. So we'll see kind of how it finishes up, and I'll update y'all on that here probably in a month or so. But that is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I have a lot of people on my friends list that played it, and a few people have completed it. But it seems like for our podcast, KT Echo is about the closest one because it's quite hefty. It's got 2,110 gamer score in it for 5,884 TA. So I've been playing 40 hours and I only have 290 gamer score in it. And it's mostly just for doing the story stuff and there are some other miscellaneous achievements that you can see as you do it. So if you do some of these activities for the first time, you'll get an achievement, but a lot of it is story related achievements and everything. So the few miscellaneous stuff that you can see in there, but yeah, we'll see how it ends.
It's giant.
It is. But you went even further. You did a 300 to 500 hour game. So
yeah, but very different.
yes. You'll chip away at it, I'm sure, as you do.
That'll be a chip away game. Who knows if I'll ever finish it, but yeah.
All right. So we will move on to Game Pass. This will come out on, let's see, the January 13th. So you'll have just 2-ish days left to complete some of these games. Exoprimal's leaving. If you're not even close to it, you're not going to finish that one.
No way.
Insurgency Sandstorm is a 15 to 20 hours, so if you're not close, that's going to be a stretch too. Escape Academy. I saw you were playing that. How do you like that so far?
I love that game. I love the single player. I don't even mind the multiplayer. But the story based portion of it, which is what TA's 7 to 10 hour estimate is, I think, aligned to, is fun. I think it's really well done. I think the graphics are great. I think it suits the style. And yeah, it's just I love escape rooms, and this feels like an escape room. And I think they do a good job. Now, the part that doesn't feel so good is the title update that they added that adds extra hours of replayability, where you're basically just going against the clock or going against a friend trying to complete the exact same puzzles, but randomly assigned over and over and over again. You have to play these levels 50 times. And you have to do 10 of each. You have to do 10 of these 3 categories. That's only 30. So even when you're done those sets of 10s, you still have 20 more things you have to do to play. And it just doesn't feel great. As a single player, I would have rather had more single player content rather than just this multiplayer bit. But yeah, it's doable. It's just I don't think you're gonna have a great time once you get done single player.
Yeah. That was one of the ones I kind of always looked at, but when it came up, I decided to go for a different one, and we'll see if I ever get to that in the future.
I should also mention that the multiplayer I'm talking about can all be done split screen with a second controller that just sits idle. So even though it does say multiplayer, you can still do it as a single person. So.
Another one that's leaving is Common ' Hood, but that has unattainables, so I would just let that go. Another one is Those Who Remain, which is a 6 to 8 hour pancake game, but it sounds like the game's really buggy when I was looking into it, so I just said I'm not even going to bother with it. You have to beat it 3 times just for ending achievements, which I'm not a big fan of, but I just said no thanks. And then the one I just started today was Figment Journey into the Mind, action adventure game with 6 to 8 hour completion there with possible glitches. We'll see how it is. I just did the first little section today, so
I talked about it on the podcast a while ago.
I like it.
I thought it was great. Yeah, I thought it was fun. I liked it, even though it was a little bit glitchy. I didn't have any bugs where I had to basically do a whole other playthroughs. I know a few people have mentioned that in solutions. I think 1 or 2 people in the Discord have mentioned having to do that as well. But I thought it was a great first stab, and this Figment 2 is I think even better.
Oh, good. Yeah. I saw that one left Game Pass, and I never got around to the first one, so I'm doing that one, and maybe I'm going to buy the second one sometime in the future. But are you guys going to be doing a Game Passable soon?
At some point, yeah. It should be. Okay. We should be. Just the schedules haven't worked out, so we will be doing another one. Yep. Sure.
According, just as throwing it out there, I know you guys have talked about it. According to Bloomy, some ones that possible are leaving soon are Broforce, Potato, Crusader Kings 3, Death's Door maybe on PC, MLB The Show. There's Persona 3's coming up as well. So if you want to get a little bit of a jump, according to Bloomy and what you guys have talked about, those are some possible ones leaving here soon. So look forward to that. But we wanted to give a special shout out and congratulations to Dish. He was the 85th person to hit 3 million gamer score with all those Call of Duty games and Metro games that he's been playing recently and everything else. Congratulations.
Yeah, good job.
Is 3 million the new 1 million? Is that what we're going to say now?
Maybe. It's getting that way. I think the race to 4. Has anyone hit 4 million yet? I don't know. I don't really keep track of those things anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Redemption's past 4 million, isn't he?
Okay.
Something like that. And I'm at like 1.9, so I'll be hitting 2 here sometime. With all those updates at the beginning of the year, it's kind of pushed everything out. But yeah, Redemption's at 5.3 million.
So. Wow, it's 5.3 now. Okay, wow.
And then the last person on the top of TA is Dwagonite, and he's at 4.4 million at number 10 slot. So,
jeez.
It's like there's at least 10 people that have hit 4 million, but that's crazy.
Yes.
But well, thanks Koosh for joining me this week. It was great to hear about Deep Rock Galactic, and that looks like a fun game. So definitely check that out. And anything else for you guys?
Nope, that's got it.
Well, thanks for joining us. This was level 332 on Achievement Hunters 101. Check us out in the Discord. Tell us about what you've been, any goals you have, any games you want to complete this week or this year, I guess. Let us know what you're looking forward to on that unannounced game for Developer Direct. Let's get that speculation going. You can find us on Twitch at AH101, on Twitter as well, Achievements 101. And yeah, thanks for joining me, Koosh. And we hope you guys have a great week. See ya.
All right. Bye-bye.